Good day, folks, and welcome to the IT Way. My name is Joanne, and this is one of many videos that we have in our membership portal here and in the description below that is ties into the Cisco Meraki certification blueprint. You're going to see all information and tools that you're going to have for you to go from zero to hero in everything about Cisco Meraki portfolio. So if you are interested in that, you can go to the description below. Enjoy this video and see you the next one. Now moving on to the route types, we're gonna see the route priority. It's almost the same, but now we're gonna see what takes priority in the case that you have probably the same IP address or the same traffic being sent to the same IP address. So you have 7 different ones. Yes, you can see 2 more than the previous one, and we're gonna explain it, see, because now it takes more important when you're talking about priority, and we're gonna go through it. So let's do almost similar a scenario to the other one. Let's create an MX. Let's try to do it less messy this time. And with MX, you have the ISP. Before we had client VPN. So let's say host A. Let's put house, in this case, your house. And then you have a non-Meraki VPN peer here. Let's put non-Meraki. Apart from that, you have another branch. So let's say this is branch 1, and you have an MX. With that one, you're gonna create the other VPN. You have here, let's say your layer 2 switch, because you have devices B and C. You have another interface here that is connecting, let's say, a switch. And with that switch, you have, I'm making it a little bit more complicated. It's a layer 3 switch or layer 3 device that is creating another VLANs for this device, host D. And you have, let's say, MPLS router or router that is going to create another connection to another branch that you have there. And let's call this router B. So let's start again with the route priority. So when you set traffic, and let's assume that everyone has the same IP addresses. So how the MX is going to process that to see what is the traffic going to be sent to? Let's say that the traffic is sent, the destination of that is 10.0.10.20. But then it goes to all the route table and see that it has for all these routes, the 7 routes, it can go and send that traffic through. So who is going to take priority? Oh, the first one is direct connected. So if inside of these addressing and VLANs of the LAN of the MX, it knows that there is a device with that IP address. Let's say that this IP address is the 10.0.10.20, is going to automatically send it through the LAN because that's directly connected device that it has in the LAN. So if the device, that IP address is in the LAN, let's say host C, boom, it's gonna send it to the LAN. That's the first priority. Second one, if the device of that IP address is using a VPN connection through the client VPN, let's call it this person, if that person has that IP address, it's gonna send it there. That's the second priority. So if it doesn't find anyone in the LAN that are directly connected with that IP address, but the next one is a client VPN, boom, it's gonna send it to the client VPN device. So that should be configured in the client VPN interface that we're gonna see later on the dashboard. So no, there are no client VPN devices that are not directly connected devices with that IP address. So what is next? Next is static routes. You have here the LAN as well that we mentioned. You have a layer 3 device and you have an MPLS to connect to another branch. If they see that either the other branch, the MPLS, the static route that is being configured here says that to go to that IP address is through that specific router or that specific layer 3 switch, let's say that host D is the one handling that IP address. Then it's going to send it through the LAN, reaching the next point or next destination point is going to be layer 3 switch. So it's going to send it through here. That's what the static routes are for. So if it's there, boom, it's going to send it there. No, still not there. So what is next? Next is the outer VPN routes. So if you say static routes take precedence over outer VPN. So if you have the same IP address in this branch and you have the same IP address in this layer 3 switch, when host B, for example, send that traffic to the MAC is going to send it to the layer 3 switch, or it's going to send it to the MPLS, because static routes take precedent. If there are no static routes with that IP address, then it's going to check the outer VPN routes. So in your LAN here, you have that IP address. Yes, it's going to encapsulate it, it's going to encrypt it, it's going to send it to the other MX. So no, still no the other VPN routes. Okay, so we're going to check the non-Meraki VPN peers. So bear in mind this. If you have branches or different locations with the same subnet, the same IP address, it's going to check the outer VPN first. If there are not other MXs with that IP address, then it's going to send it to your non-Meraki VPN peer. So let's assume that here you have another device, which is F, and then F, yes, has that IP address, then it's going to send it. As long as there are not any advertisement from outer VPN for that. So that's how the prioritization of those routes work. Non-Meraki VPN peers either, good. So it's going to take all the VPN learned routes. Let's say that this MPLS router is advertising all the BGP routes that are having in other places or other sites. So since you have that BGP adjacency, it's going to learn those routes. And if those routes projecting saying, oh yes, there is a device J here that has that IP address, well, then it's going to send it through the BGP route that is being advertised. That's when you get that. And if none of that worked, if the traffic being sent from host B to the MX with that destination IP address is not either in the directly connected devices, client VPN devices, static routes, outer VPN routes, non-Meraki VPN peers, BGP learned routes, then it's going to use the NAT. So this NAT is what we can say is the default, is a catch-all. So it's going to send it through either the internet, but we can see that it's a private. So most likely what is going to happen is going to drop it. But if this would be, let's say, .3, a public IP address, yes, we'll send it through the ISP. So that's why the NAT is the last resort for all the traffic that the MX is going to receive from any places. So that's how the MX route priority works. So you will see all the different elements that it takes in consideration. So if you have the client VPN enabled, you have static routes, you have outer VPN, and you have all these enabled, bear this in mind, because any conflicts that you might have, you have to be aware that static routes is going to be first. So you're going to send it to the static routes, regardless of that device is in the other VPN routes or non-Meraki VPN routes. And if you're having these two both, take that into consideration, because you're going to send it to the MX outer VPN first, even though you have that configured in the non-Meraki VPN peer. And that's how the MX route priority works.